How about this, though? Like, Ohio State doesn't need a full schedule to show what they can do. If we're talking about a November 28th start, schedule Michigan, Penn State, Wisconsin, and whoever the fourth best, of the five best teams in the Big Ten, give Ohio State the top four, the four others. Let them play them right in a row. That will coincide with the SEC championship game. Let Ohio State be if Ohio State beats Michigan, Penn State, Wisconsin, and whomever else, is that enough to be then drafted into the college football playoffs? Because when you were talking about quality wins, assuming that would be them, how many more? Beating Illinois does nothing for you. Beating Indiana does nothing for you. Beating Michigan State does nothing for you. Beating Northwestern does nothing for you. And so do those four wins against quality opponents equal Clemson's 2 quality wins and 8 non-quality wins? And, of course, Ohio State would not go against the Big Ten, because we know you never go against the family.
No, because when you sit there and you look at the new top 25 that'll come out with Big Ten and Pac-12 out, I mean, when you sit there and Ole Miss becomes a top 25 team, the process of elimination, and some of these middling ACC teams will sit there and be 20-21, you're gonna have the argument of, well, they had 7 quality wins over top 25 teams at that point. And I say that a little tongue in cheek, but I mean the argument will absolutely be made.
There is absolutely no way they're going to put Ohio State in the playoff on the basis of 4 games. All the talking heads would come out. They had their chance, forgetting the fact that concessions were made because of the virus. This isn't a perfect world this year. But I would agree with you, if they play those 4 games and would win those 4 games, they would show they deserve to be among the best teams in college football. But I can't imagine that they would allow that.
Yeah, well, to make some kind of criticism of that is acting like Ohio State is making a decision not to play football. Ohio State is helpless in the situation. Yeah. The 12-0 record looks nice. It looks great. That's what we expect to see out of a playoff team, or 11-1. But in all practicality, yes, rolling up the Rutgers, Maryland, Illinois wins, that's just practice time. It just warms you up for Penn State and Michigan and everybody else.
We'll play them after Clemson and Alabama.
It's like looking at dog food ingredients. The top couple of things, it's like meat and then chicken byproduct and then sawdust and filler. And Rutgers is the sawdust and the filler, and it's not any actual meat or food byproduct. And just focus on the top of the dog food ingredients, the neck meat and the chicken byproduct.
Close and trotters.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about here, and the rest is just Rutgers filler.
You guys have devised about every possible way to demean Rutgers football, every possible analogy, but I think Tony is really just
they do a great job of it themselves.
I'm not disputing that in any way.
I had Jalen Gill's dad message me at some point jokingly. He's like, "Wow, you're being awful tough on Rutgers." Since Jalen is transferred, and I'm like, out of Ohio State. I'm like, yeah, well, it kind of is what it is.
I will say I have deleted a lot of tweets that I have tweeted about Rutgers over the years, just because they're overly mean. But in the moment, what am I supposed to do? Control myself? No.
I think the first year that we covered a game there may have been 2015, I think. And Ohio State was winning so bad at the end of the third quarter, I went outside for a fresh air break, and the athletic director, Julie Herman was her name, or I don't know, Julie something.
Yeah, I think it was.
And she was going through some rough patch there at that point. She had seen enough, and she was headed to her car at the end of the quarter. The Rutgers athletic director, she was done. So yeah, it I don't know.
For anybody who's a nerd out there like me,
dinner up in the press box that one year.
What's that, Kevin?
They feed us well there. We had like Thanksgiving dinner. They had like a turkey carving station. So you always get points for that. I mean, they were all
the good with the bad.
In Illinois, who charged us $8 for a week-old lasagna $8. I mean, the
They're
margin
charging
of
the media.
the Big Ten, it was horrible.
Illinois.
Are they the only ones?
They've done away with that policy since, but I mean, there were at least 2 trips where they did charge. You could pay for the meal, or you could kind of wait around for leftover hot dogs.
Michigan State gives you a coupon for like a drink and a brat. After that, you have to buy food. And what happened the first year that Meyer was the coach, I think 2012, it was a terrible game. It ended up like 17-16. And about the third quarter, again, I needed a fresh air break, and I went downstairs and bought a cheeseburger at the concession stand, and I missed the one play of the game. They threw a touchdown pass, I think, to Devin Smith in the third quarter, and I missed it. I'm out getting a cheeseburger because I'm starved.
Steve, that was a bad game?
Oh, it was a terrible game.
You like to see fireworks, I guess.
No,
that was a great game. That's a Big Ten game.
That team in 2012, I mean, they won so many games like that by,
sure.
They had to go to overtime to beat Purdue, I think, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Oh, yeah, that was the Kenny Guyton miracle.
It was not.
But even
they were an undefeated team, but they weren't a dominant team. And,
sure.
But the good thing, and Mark, I'll let you get back to what you're going to say. The good thing about Michigan State is we do get post-game pizza. So there is that. While we only get, 2 tickets for a brat and a hot dog or a brat and a popcorn, we do get post-game pizza that is, ticket free, just first come, first serve. And then if you're crafty, you take a box home with you.
But if you stumble on your way back from post-game,
forget
there's not much left. I mean, there's cheese and like pineapple.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of good options left because there are certain people that will take their box of pizza early.
God,
nobody on this chat.
No, it's like you end the interviews early. Like, Ryan Day's like trying to talk to you. Hey, you guys want to hang out? No, don't have time. Got to get back to the pizza.
I was only subject to the media pregame and halftime lunches for about 7 years in the SEC, but I got to say they treated us well. Must be an SEC football thing.
I wanted to go in the tank one year so we can go back to the Outback Bowl. 20 years ago, I covered back-to-back Outback Bowls, and they give you a steak. At halftime, they bring you a bloomin' onion and a steak. So that's pretty good.
Steve, you want to suffer through an 8-4 Ohio State season just so you can go see them play South Carolina in the Outback Bowl and get a steak and enjoy that for about 8 minutes.
Selfish.
Camp was a lot of fun. Ybor City.
How many times have we traveled on the road and on the way back from Indianapolis, we go over there off of Post Road and hit that Outback? We'll just do that again, and let's just
okay.
Better season so we can spend it in a nice locale, right? I mean, nothing against the Outback Bowl. I don't want to be, I'm already not welcome at any Big Ten events for what I've said about them. Let's not get me banned from one of the steak chains.
Yeah.
This would seem unrelated to most out there, but based on the conversation here in the last few minutes about food and money, it prompts me to remind everyone that the Super Chat is on. We're talking about 3 distinguished and very knowledgeable, insightful, experienced Ohio State beat writers here with Steve Hellwagon from Bucknuts 247 Sports, Kevin Noon Rivals, Buckeye Grove, and Tony Gerdeman from Buckeye Scoop. So please keep that under consideration in regards to contributing to the efforts that they make to come on here each and every week. The hour, I don't even consider the hour the time. It's more about the value and beyond the hour, the preparation that they have to take to keep up with all of this mess. And it's typically just football and recruiting, but it's been a mess for the last 6 months or so.
Yeah, Mark, it's more than just football recruiting, especially this week where I've made multiple calls to Columbus detectives about the Haskell Garrett thing, talking to parents, talking to so many different avenues. Like I would just like to write about football, but we have not been able to do that. And there's still been no shortage of stuff going on. And it's just real quickly about the Haskell Garrett thing, just a miracle, basically, that he's already back at practice, not necessarily practicing, but back, with the team. And man, that dude is lucky to be alive.
Yeah. Hey, Tony, can you back up just a second? And for anybody who's not aware of that situation, you'll explain it much better than I.
Yeah, we're told last Saturday night, Haskell Garrett had been at a friend's house, was walking home, came across a man and a woman in an altercation, tried to stop it, intervened, got shot by the guy, like shot in the face through one cheek, through the other, clean through, and basically got away. And then police finally came, took him to the hospital, and he spent 2 nights in the hospital and was back home. And for trying to intervene, the Good Samaritan thing is basically what we've been told, and that's what he got for it. And it's still an ongoing investigation, as far as I know. I don't think anybody has been arrested for that yet. But I don't even know how. I saw some people like, well, why didn't he call the cops, or why did cops have to find him? Go try getting shot in the face and see how your mental acuity reacts to that, and what is going through your mind when
You're going to be in shock.
Exactly. I'd be just as likely to go to UDF for some ice cream while because your mind can't possibly be working. Your blood is on fire. Your nerves are just completely wrecked, and so don't worry about logic at that point. But just we'll eventually talk to him. I wouldn't be surprised if we talk to him like about this specifically here in the next couple of weeks. I don't know. OSU is very secretive about all of their players' health, but this is a little bit more than just a football story.
Kevin, I'd like to lift your spirits by letting you know that if Ohio State and the Big Ten are not on the field this fall, that our show can be comprised of a lot of Wake Forest and Louisville and Georgia Tech talk from watching them play in the ACC. So you'll have to study up on those teams.
You can put me on the Central Arkansas show because I'm all in on them. I've seen them play twice already this year. So I actually even sort of recognize the name of 1 or 2 players now after this.
What is their nickname?
I don't know. The Pitmasters? I don't know. I'm not paying that close attention.
I think everybody in Arkansas is the Razorbacks. So I believe it's the Central Arkansas Razorbacks.
I think aren't they like the Bears? I haven't looked. I don't know. I'm trying.
I don't know. I've also seen them twice, but have not watched them close enough. Mark knows. I know he knows.
I believe it is the Bears.
They are.
I don't know, but as soon as Kevin said the Bears, I believe it is the Bears. It's something bear related.
Because if I'm watching Southland football, I'm all about Stephen F. Austin and the Jacks, the Lumberjacks.
Good Lord.
There was a huge upset last night with South Alabama 2-10 last year with the nation's longest road losing streak, winning at Southern Miss as a 14-point underdog.
Yep.
How crazy do you have to be betting college football right now? I understand it, but we have you don't know right now. It's just a dangerous proposition to be putting money on college football, especially that level right now. Maybe let's wait until the Big 12 starts. But good luck if you had South Alabama, because they clearly look like the better team. It wasn't even close, basically.
Well, who felt old seeing Frank Gore Jr. playing in that game?
How about that? Yeah,
I was like, oh my god,
that's crazy.
With only 32 yards rushing, but he outrushed his old man in his debut, who only had a 9-carry, 15-yard rough debut, but it's worked out pretty well for him ever since in terms of, racking up about 15 years in the NFL. All right, guys, we appreciate you coming on as always. Again, I can't encourage everybody out there enough to check out their work, because it's phenomenal past what we get here for the 1-hour slice every week with Kevin Noon from Buckeye Grove, Steve Hillwagon, Bucknuts, and Tony Gerdeman, Buckeye Scoop. And follow him on Twitter, track him down there, and especially Tony, and just kind of envision all the Rutgers tweets that get deleted. So take that into consideration as well.
I had to delete years worth of Gary Nova tweets just in case we ever pass
Gary
cross
Nova.
paths.
Yes, number 14, I believe.